Protagonists selected Clarence Bud Anderson, US Army Air Forces 357th Fighter Group. His first-hand combat accounts as a P-51 ace capture the moment Germany's elite fighter pilots realized the air war had changed forever. You do not beat Germany in the air. That was the rule. Everyone knew it. Pilots knew it. Commanders knew it. Even America's allies whispered it. For years, the Luftwaffe ruled European skies with ruthless efficiency. Their fighter pilots were professionals in a way no one else could match. They trained longer. They flew faster. They hunted in disciplined packs, guided by ground controllers, refined by the brutal lessons of Spain and Poland and France. And their fighters, sleek Messerschmitt Bf-109s and later the terrifying Focke-Wulf 190s, were purpose-built killers. The numbers seemed unbreakable. German aces stacked up hundreds of victories. Names like Alland and Elders, Marseille became legends. Entire I-bomber formations vanished in smoke and falling aluminum. There was another rule, just as ironclad. Escort fighters could not protect bombers all the way to Germany. They simply didn't have the range. American bombers could fly deep into the Reich, but their fighters had to turn back, which meant that somewhere over Germany, always over Germany, the bombers would be alone. And the Luftwaffe waited there. They mocked American design. They dismissed American pilots as amateurs. They laughed at one particular airplane, a long-nosed fighter that looked awkward, too fragile, too lightly armed. An aircraft built around an engine it didn't even originally have. A plane German pilots would later call a mistake. But in 1944, one man climbs into the cockpit of that Joe plane, pushes the throttle forward, and changes everything. Clarence Emil Anderson is 21 years old when he earns his wing. He grows up in California, the son of Swedish immigrants. Lanky, quiet, competitive. He's not reckless, not loud, but he is relentless. He obsesses over flying, over precision, over doing things exactly right. By the time he reaches England in late 1943, the air war is going badly. The US 8th Air Force believes in daylight precision bombing. It's a doctrine built on confidence that tight formations of B-17 flying fortresses, bristling with .5s Euro caliber guns, can defend themselves. Reality is cruel. On missions like Schweinfurt and Regensburg, German fighters tear into bomber streams with methodical brutality. Hundreds of American airmen die in a single day. Entire crews burn or freeze or fall. But Anderson joins the 357th Fighter Group at Leiston, England. They are young, inexperienced, and they are about to receive a new aircraft, the P-51 Mustang. At first, even American pilots are unsure. Early Mustangs performed poorly at high altitude. The airframe felt different. The cockpit visibility was strange. The airplane didn't feel like a brawler. German intelligence scoffs. A long-range escort fighter? Impossible. A fighter that can fly to Berlin and back? Absurd. The Luftwaffe assumes one thing hasn't changed. When American fighters reach their fuel limit, they will turn around. That assumption is about to get men killed. March 1944. You sit in the cockpit with Bud Anderson as the Merlin engine roars to life. The sound is deep and smooth, not ragged like earlier fighters. The airframe vibrates beneath you. Throttle forward. The Mustang surges down the runway. Wheels up. Gear retracting. Altitude climbs past 10,000 feet. Then 20,000. Then 30,000. The bomber stream forms ahead, hundreds of B-17s and B-24s. Silver in the cold sunlight, contrails streaking the sky. This is supposed to be familiar. Then the radio crackles. Bandits. 12 o'clock high. German fighters appear dots at first, then sharp shapes slicing downward. Bud pushes the nose forward. He does not turn back. This is the moment Germany doesn't expect. The P-51 dives with terrifying speed, over 400 miles per hour. The Mustang doesn't shudder. It doesn't compress. It hunts. A Focke-Wulf 190 flashes past the canopy. Bud rolls inverted, pulls hard. The G-forces crush him into the seat. Gunsight settles. 6.5s Euro caliber machine guns open fire. The sound is not a rattle. It's a tearing scream. The FW-190 explodes into fragments. Bud doesn't celebrate. He doesn't even look. He's already climbing back into the fight. More German fighters arrive. Bf-109s slashing through the bomber boxes, firing rockets cannon. The Mustang stays with them. Minute after minute. Mile after mile. This isn't a short escort. This is deep Germany. At 25,000 feet, oxygen masks frost over. The temperature is -40. Fingers go numb. Sweat freezes inside gloves. Fuel gauges tick downward. This is where the rule says you turn back. Bud doesn't. The Luftwaffe notices. German pilots are confused, angry. then alarmed. These American fighters don't disengage. They don't break off. They stay. And worse, they fight vertically. They die faster. They climb better. They chase. Bud racks up kill. 1, 2. Each engagement is violent and fast. You line up behind a Messerschmitt. Distance explosive. 1,200 yards. 900. 600. Fire. The enemy aircraft snaps apart. German pilots begin to realize something is wrong. Their home turf is no longer safe. Then comes the moment when failure seems inevitable. Bud's flight is jumped by multiple enemy fighters. Ammunition runs low. Fuel is dangerously tight. A German ace latches onto his tail. Cannon shells rip past the canopy. Bud snaps the Mustang into a brutal turn. The aircraft holds. The German fighter cannot. Bud reverses. Fires. Another enemy spirals down. He glances at the fuel gauge. Almost empty. The Mustang turns west. Home. But the damage is done. Mid-roll CT. If you find this kind of forgotten military history as fascinating as we do, we'd be honored if you'd hit that subscribe button. These stories of courage, sacrifice, and genius deserve to be told, and by subscribing, you help ensure they aren't forgotten. What Germany doesn't understand at first is how completely the balance has shifted. The P-51 doesn't just escort bombers. It hunts. The Luftwaffe. American fighters begin strafing airfield, catching German planes during takeoff, destroying trainers, killing veteran pilots faster than they can be replaced. The numbers are devastating. In early 1944, the Luftwaffe still fields experienced stasis. By summer, they are gone. But Anderson finishes the war with 16 and 1 quark confirmed kills. He survives dozens of missions that statistically should have killed him. German commanders panic. They ground aircraft. They shift fuel away from training. They send barely trained teenagers into combat. None of it works. The joke plane has done the unthinkable. It has humiliated Germany's best fighter race. It has taken air superiority on the Luftwaffe. And without control of the skies, Germany cannot stop what comes next. June 6, 1944. D-Day. Allied troops land under friendly air cover. The Luftwaffe barely shows up. The air war is over before the ground war ends. But Anderson survives the war. He continues flying, continues serving, continues living. He rarely boasts, rarely exaggerates. He simply remembers. The P-51 Mustang goes down in history as one of the greatest fighters ever built. But for a moment, just a moment, it was laughed at. And then it changed the war. Today, only a few of those pilots remain. Their voices quieter. Their numbers fewer. That's why this story matters now. Because air superiority was not inevitable. Victory was not guaranteed. And history turns on moments when assumptions die. If this story moved you, please hit that like button. Every click tells the algorithm this piece of history is worth remembering. We're dedicated to rescuing these forgotten stories from the archive. If you want to join us on this mission, please subscribe and turn on notification. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment with your city or state and tell us if someone in your family served. Thank you for ensuring that Clarence Bud Anderson and the men of the 357th Fighter Group did not disappear into silence. They deserve to be remembered.